So a few weeks ago, a commenter left a comment, funnily enough, on a video saying they'd seen people adding scooter exhausts to diesel heaters to quieten them down. Now, I thought scooter exhaust was perhaps a tad extreme and large, and usually expensive, even the cheap ones. And when you get a cheap one, what they are is basically a straight through pipe, because all people seem to want to do is make motorbikes louder. So I thought the next best thing would perhaps be a generator exhaust. This was a generic generator exhaust which I purchased from eBay. I forget how much it was. I don't think it was particularly expensive, like £20 or perhaps less than that. It did come with a kind of specific angled sized, probably for obviously a generator, connection at the end of it. What I did was, well, cut that off and weld on a piece of pipe that matches the size of the diesel heater exhaust, so we can just slip it right over the end. If anyone saw it on Instagram, this was the thingy that I was making. It's a bit sooty. Any better looking? It's a bit sooty because I've already run it and had to retune the heater. Why did I have to retune the heater? Because this appears to be a lot more restrictive in flow than the original exhaust, and it was pumping out black smoke. Well, the carbon monoxide was off the charts, so it required a bit of dialing in to get it. Another note is this is it's completely hollow inside. So after this video, what I might do another day is take the end off, perhaps cut a hole in it and stuff some rock wool or fiberglass down inside it, and then run it again to see if that makes any difference to the sound pressure levels. So we've got the 5 kilowatt diesel heater up here on its stand of tins of paint that you can't see, just running down to the stock exhaust here with a blast plate to blast the flames, not flames, the heat away from things, and so I can get the carbon monoxide meter and just take a rough reading round about here. Over there on the other side I have the decibel meter on a tripod. So we'll get a baseline. I'll run this heater up first, take a reading, show you the reading on the decibelometer. I don't think that decibel meter, and then I'll switch back to this, or switch to this exhaust and run it, and we'll get a reading the same. Sound pressure levels, I'm gonna have to Google this, but I have a feeling that a change of, I seem to remember if it's like 10 decibels in either direction, or if it's 10 decibels more, it's twice as loud. If it's 10 decibels less, it's half as loud. I'll need to Google that on my phone, but I'm sure that's about right. So let's run up and get some readings, and we'll get a baseline. Okay, we've achieved full running power. We are at full purge now. What I'm going to do now is unplug my lapel mic from the camera and let you hear what it sounds like just now, and tell you the sound pressure level. Are you ready? Here we go. So I am currently reading or showing a sound pressure level between 63 and 65 decibels. Right, let us now swap that little silencer out for the great big silencer and run it again. What I'm going to do is just swap it on the live here. Well, actually, you know what would be interesting? Let me just unplug the microphone again. Sorry, microphone. Okay, so you should now be hearing it running on the camera's microphone. Let me just remove the silencer entirely. And now let me check the decibels for you. That's between 70 and 72 decibels. I might need to slide all you guys back down a bit. putting a little blast plate in place. Okay, that's the big exhaust on, obviously, as you can see. I have to say, it sounds different, and I'll just give you a decibel reading. It's still between 63 and 65, which means that the loudest part is the heater and not the exhaust. And yes, gauntlets are a great idea. You should perhaps wear them rather than brand yourself with the exhaust. Okay, I've brought you down in close to the exhaust now, and what I'm going to do is swap them. Where's my screwdriver? I'm just slacking this off. Don't really need it. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the difference. So, big exhaust. No exhaust. Small exhaust. Well, hopefully that has shed some light onto silencers and your options of making your heater quieter. I have to say, I was actually pleasantly surprised that this did actually make the heater a lot quieter. I would say it's almost silent. You can't really tell. I mean, if you're any more than a meter away from this exhaust, you won't hear any noise coming from it. It is basically inaudible. Hello, it is David from the future here. So one thing I had failed to take into account is the auto gain on the camera's built-in microphone, and its job is to basically make all the sounds the same loudness, which is kind of counterproductive in a video in which you're trying to show or listen to how the sound of a thing changes. So it wasn't until I was editing it and playing it back that I find out that the big black silencer sounds like it doesn't make any difference, when in reality of me standing there in the workshop, like I say, the sound goes away. There's almost no exhaust sound that you can hear. So although in the video it doesn't appear to have that great a difference, trust me, I do not lie to you people, you're too good and too nice to me for that the big black silencer, it does make a dramatic difference in the sound output from the exhaust from the heater. That being said, it does absolutely fuck up your tune. This exhaust must be, well, going from the size of the holes that are inside the pipe. So if you imagine the inlet coming into this exhaust, it's the inlet, I don't know, it must be, let's say, 3 inches, maybe 2 or 3 inches long. A bit of pipe goes in, the end's covered, and it's just holes drilled in the inside the pipe. And again, on the outside, the outlet, it's just another pipe that's got smaller holes, and I think there's a baffle plate on the inside. But it's a lot more restrictive than the original exhaust, and it threw my tune way fucking off. Like I say, the carbon monoxide was off the scale. So once you put it in, if you're going to put it in, you need to run it and then retune it. I had to take my fuel all the way down. My max fuel setting in this is now 3 Hertz on the pump, and it's still getting the same amount of heat output, or very nearly the same amount of heat output, because obviously the exhaust gas is trapped inside the heater for much longer. It can't get out, so it stays in to, well, obviously impart its heat out into the heated air. So it does mess up your tune, but that's okay, because you would need to tune it again anyway. because any changes you make, you need to retune for them. I was going to say, when I put this small, it's a little bit warm, put this back on after I'd retuned it. Obviously my numbers were now a lot less, but it was also, the burn chamber temperature was also running a lot cooler, because, well, I have the probe in the burn chamber temperature, and with the big black silencer it's run about like 998 to 1000 degrees, and when I swapped back to the little one it went anywhere between like 880 and 920 degrees, so you're not getting as much heat, obviously because you're putting less fuel in, and also because it can escape faster. But like I say, these are cheap. They're only like £20. What size is it? But it is a big unit. It's obviously 23 centimeters or 9 inches by 20 centimeters or 8 inches by about 13 centimeters or 5 inches. So it takes up quite a lot of space compared to the little teeny tiny one here. But it does do a lot better job at suppressing the sound than the little one does. You will have to modify it, obviously. So I got from eBay this piece of machined steel pipe that's exactly the same size as the inside diameter. Is that hot? No, it's not as hot as it was. Let me pop it off. I have screwed it. No, it's not. So, standard stock exhaust pipe. Bit of pipe that I bought off eBay, and that slides in there perfectly. So you take a bit of that and you weld it onto the end of your exhaust. Like that. Hopefully your welding will be better than mine. It does the job, it keeps the gases in, and that leaves you, well, lets you have an inlet into the exhaust. And it's cheap. It's a cheap mod. We'll call it a cheap mod, and it cuts down the noise. And I hope it answered the question that somebody had asked, that I probably would use one of these rather than a moped or a scooter exhaust, because, well, these will be a lot cheaper. Like I say, it was like £20, and it does the thing. It makes it nice and quiet. Any comments, questions, suggestions, information on sound pressure level? Because although we didn't see a remarkable drop because the heater was louder than the exhaust output, let me know about the 10 decibel thing, because I was reading online like a 3 decibel change is half the loudness, but a 10 decibel change is what we would perceive to be doubly loud or half as loud, going in depending on which way you go. So leave some information down below, and that would help us all out, and we'll all get smarter from those things. Thanks for watching.